they don't. I don't eat snack food, so they're sending up all too much candy to throw. No, so yeah, the great big screen. I was going to go to across the Louisville guys. My man locally, Coach Patino's operations guy, Vinny Tatum's got a condo across the street. So I don't know. Tomorrow I may watch it right there in here. I'm not sure because when lose or draw, we're going home after the game. So.
When Troy was making that drive and watching, that had to be get your heart rate going, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, but playing every game's that way for us. It's the whole thing's been a chapter in my book. If I ever write one, it'll be an interesting chapter in the book. The last 3 months of this whole experience has been wild. I got no answer for it. It's every game's that way. We've had some tough losses. What was going through my mind was, this team, my kids deserve a break. We've lost 6 games that we could have won easily in the last seconds. So where other teams have banked in shots, fouls have been called on us that are questionable. We've had some tough endings, half-court shot. So it was what was going through my mind was, our guy. Law of averages got to come to our side at some point when that ball was rolling around on the rim.
You've talked about
expected the success that the team has had after you had to step away and then announce that it was going to be the full season.
So my first meeting with the guys was, this is going to be a test of what we talk about every day. We don't believe in excuses. One man's not more important than the group. And we will. My biggest thing was the older I've got. I heard Coach K say this one time. And he's a lot older than me now. When you establish yourself, I guess, a little bit in the business, and it's not all about your climb as a coach. At some point, you realize it becomes your enjoyment is what the experiences of the guys. That's what keeps you motivated, and it's their season. They're never going to get this season back, especially our senior, Jermaine Sanders. So I didn't, my message to them was, your season's not going to be about an arterial dissection, which you have no idea what it is. Like I've been asked all year to call in, be on the phone during games. This is not about me, it's about them. My role simply changed. And I'm going to do everything that I can do without jeopardizing my health to continue to help them, because it's about them. It's their season. And then it's not going to be an excuse, which is what we talk about in our program is, for the guys. It's more about life than basketball. And although everybody in there wants to play in the NBA, and I want to help them with that, we try to, Larry and I remember Larry and I were both broke. So, we got into this to help kids. So they got to learn that it's always easier to give up and quit than it is to fight on. So I told him very, very sternly that this will not be used as an excuse either.
The fact that you and Larry have known each other for so long and so well.
25 years.
Did that make it easier to kind of, it wasn't a question of who was coaching or who the kids were supposed to be answering to?
Yeah, well, he's 9 years as a head coach.
Right.
Larry and I go so far back especially the 9 years building this program, only our local media and people can understand what we went through, how bad it was. I don't like to talk about it because it's depressing. I had to deal with it enough. What we went through to build our program, we went through it together, made us extremely close. So, we have a bond for life because of that. And we laugh about it now, like people think they're tough times. We try being in the Big East with a bunch of guys that I love for life, but they were outmanned every night. And you're playing Georgetown, then you played UConn, then your next 3 were Syracuse, Louisville, and Pitt. I mean, and you had a bunch of guys that you signed in May that had no scholarship offers, and your fans were used to Cincinnati basketball. Good luck, So Larry and I stood back to back, making sure we weren't catching any bullets. So and he signed on to come go through that with me. He got a big raise for it though. But he's and like right now, I think this is a great opportunity for Larry to get a head coaching job. He may end up with mine and keeps winning. But that's why So a big part of this for me is is rewarding him, getting some reward for being there for me.
How significant is this game for him as a guy who grew up in Kentucky and?
He grew up in Muncie, Indiana.
Or a Kentucky guy.
He grew up in Muncie, Indiana. He's not a Kentucky guy.
Well, what do you have to do with Kentucky? Obviously, that's literally a tall task. What's the general game plan?
No, it's just every game, same game plan. It's just going to be a whole lot harder, Gresh, because of their personnel. Also they got a coach that's going to be in the Hall of Fame in their personnel. The good thing is they're not going to change the rules between now and tomorrow. I checked, called the NABC. They can only play 5 at a time. That's a good thing. But it's the same thing. I mean, it's just going to be a lot harder to accomplish our goals. Being able to stop them, being able to get good shots, being able to rebound the ball. It's just a lot harder because of their personnel. And the thing about it, teams have done it. They have done it, but they haven't been able to do it for 40 minutes. And that's the difference. The cumulative effect of their size, bench, and athleticism has worn on people.
How happy were you for
planning?
Extremely. And I have
Game
been.
plan.
Yeah, and I have been the whole time. That I can do.
It's been suggested that the teams need to spread the floor on them and make them guard one-on-one as opposed to 2 or 3-on-1. How central is something like that to combating a team like that?
Well, first of all, I don't see many weaknesses. Second of all, from a strategy standpoint, obviously I'm not going to discuss it. I think I think Cal would tell you. I mean, people have tried everything under the sun against them. So we're not going to do anything they haven't seen. So I would just tell you this in general. Everything that you teach as a coach, that if you don't do it in this game, you're going to lose. So if you don't make the right pass to the open man, you're not going to be able to overcome mistakes in this game. What happens when you play it with tremendous talent? Your margin for error shrinks. So everything that you teach and preach all year, your guys must accomplish and be 100% committed to it, because you can't just go overcome it against them. That's so. It's not like, and the key, can you do it for 40 minutes? Again, because teams have done it. So
Is there a team
you got to find the open man.
Is there a team they've played that kind of is a model, do you think?
Of how to beat them?
Or at least to compete?
I think
that you
I
took the
think
inspiration from.
teams have done it again. A lot of teams have done it, but they haven't been able to get over the hump and do it for 40 minutes. That's the difference. Hopefully the extra CBS timeout will help us get more rest. That is a factor in this tournament, really. I mean, there's more. The timeouts are longer. Halftime's longer. The timeouts are longer. Maybe hopefully that could mitigate their depth a little bit.
You talked a lot about this season.
What's the best thing that Larry has done over these last 3 months, and the thing that's made the biggest difference in how the team has performed?
I would tell you where Larry's done it. This is why he should be a head coach. I'm fortunate that he's on my staff. So when this happened, we had a great guy. But I think I got 2 other guys that way, because I don't go running around hiring guys to get players. I try to hire coaches that can recruit other coaches and leaders and young people. Antoine, Darren, and Larry are guys that our players look up to as men and then have great respect for. But to answer your question pointedly, I think what Larry's done the best with us is he has been stable when we've had tough times, because we haven't gone undefeated. I wasn't, and so we were going to lose games, and after I went down and got sick, anyways. But for an interim coach to be able to do that, that's not an easy thing to do. He was after we lost to Xavier, I believe we had lost 3 in a row. Is that right?
Yep.
my biggest concern was him. Because so when he went back in to lead him, he was okay, and he wasn't feeling the heat because he doesn't want to let me down. He doesn't want to let the program down. He was fine. When I went in to check on him, I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "We got to beat Houston." I said, "You got it." That's all. And we learned that back in our days in the Big East because it was just so rough and so tough. It was like coaching in the NBA. You just get, but it says a lot about his toughness but his wisdom, his experience. That's why somebody would be lucky if they're able to get him as their head coach, as their next head coach.
You've talked about this season being
capable of the game that he had last night.
I knew he had it in him. Just getting it out of him. One thing that I try to tell our staff all the time is, we have a no complaining rule on our staff. One thing, I get great respect for my staff. I get really upset if our coaches complain about a guy when it's our job to get it out of him. If he's not doing it, we got to get it out of him. And you got to find a way to get it out of him. And that's what they pay us for. With all due respect to my buddies that are out there coaching the Seven Hills girls team, Doug Keckman. He's an amateur and we're professionals. We're well paid. We got to get it out of him. And you can't give up. You got to keep trying to get it out of him. And you got to know you did everything to get it out of him. You can't just think. One thing probably the biggest thing I remember Coach Pitino saying all the time. If he never lament about your players. Your job is to get it out. Find a way to get it out. Be in the gym extra with him. Show him more film. Find a way to motivate. He's not motivated enough. Find a way to motivate him. You can't. Everybody's not SK. Everybody's not the most mature kid you ever coach and lives in the gym 4 hours a day. So, but Corey's got it in him. We just got to keep finding a way to pull it out of him. He told me after I told him that, he goes, Coach, all I really need is playing time. I'm just kidding.
Mick, you've talked a lot.
That's what his face was saying to me.
Do you remember seeing the hands for the first time?
Corey, yeah, I shook his hand. When I shook his hand, I didn't know his hand. I didn't know that he had bigger hands than Dr. J until I shook his hands. Oh my goodness. It's unbelievable. It's a detriment, though, to him at times, Dan, because he drives me with the one-hand shots. Well, something I already had, obviously, I've had my time, that he's going to see after the season is he's had a lot of one-hand shots that, because his hands are so big, that he could get away with before he got to this level. That he may get fouled, but he should have got an and one because he tries to do the Nerf. I call it the Nerf hoop dunk. Just when we were little, we just Nerf hooped it. He tries to Nerf hoop it, and he gets fouled, and he doesn't get the and one, or he gets a shot blocked. He's got to get away from the one hand. The one hand's getting blocked tomorrow.
You've talked a lot about this season being about Jermaine. How rewarding was it last night to see the smile on his face when you guys were able to get that win and advance?
It's great for him. It was even better when the players were showing me. They have a picture of him in his celebration when Troy made the layup. Yeah. And he was on the ground, and it looked like some sort of yoga pose. I don't know my yoga poses, but it sure looked like one. You do yoga. So
I do, yes, on the beach.
In a Speedo.
Yes, Newport Beach, yeah.
That was great. It was awesome. He's given great talks to our team at the end of every practice or shoot around. He's been well aware, I think, here for the last 3 weeks of this is it. Whether it's this week or 2 weeks from now, eventually it's over. Even we win 5 more, it's over. He loves being a Bearcat, so it's great for him.
Big, what things have you